You're listening to the Manifest Massively podcast with Nicole Renee Ray. Hey guys, so I wanted to share with you really quick before the beginning of this episode a little bit of my process, because this episode that you're about to listen to is an episode that I recorded probably back in 2021. And it was the episode that really made me decide that I wanted to start a podcast. And so, literally, out of this intuitive nudge, I sat down and opened up Anchor, signed up, got an account, and then started to go ahead and just record what was on my mind, what it was that I was seeing. And I almost didn't include this episode in the official podcast release, but after further contemplation, introspection, I was like, you know what? Let's include this. I hope that it inspires you in the sense that if you are feeling inspired by things, if ideas are coming to you, maybe it's not something that is going to be in full fruition right away, but it's enough to go ahead and create it. You never know when you're going to have that opportunity to go back and grab it and utilize it for the official big project. So I hope you enjoy it. Of course, let me know what you think, and I will see you in this episode. I had this intuition come up that I wanted to share with you guys. And basically, it's an intuition that's come up quite a bit. And so, my intention is that if you are someone that has been aligning with leading your life with your intuition, leading life from soul, and from soul being in your purpose, fulfilling on your soul purpose, then I want to share this experience with you because this is definitely what I have been leaning into in my life. I've just seen it and been inspired by it over and over again in so many women and people that I see really choosing this path and rising up. And I just think that first of all, I think it's magnificent, right? Because never has there really been a day a day and age where we have more of the support and the ability to actually do that, to actually go with soul, to go with the flow at the deepest level. Just all kinds of things. I don't have to sell you on it in terms of what's available in internet wise, technology wise, that allows us to put ourselves out there and connect and do all sorts of amazing things. So back to the core message. So I follow a little bit of astrology. I don't consider myself like a deep astrologer, but it's something that I have utilized in my own spiritual practice and my own manifestation practice, because it's my belief that live on this planet that's in this solar system. Clearly, we are given life by this planet and the solar system because we need sun and we need water and we need these elements. And so if we need life, if we need to sustain life from these elements, then probably these other celestial bodies have an impact on us too, right? Because we're all energy. So that's kind of like the foundation of where I hold my belief of astrology. Now, I always come back to direct contact with source, with God, with spirit, with whatever you choose as choose to name your higher power. But that just kind of gives you a background on where I stand with astrology. And there's something that's starting to happen, that's been happening, called, we're moving out of the Piscean age and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. And, I've kind of known about this for a while, and being an Aquarius, of course, I'm super attracted to that. But as I've been, just to tie these two things together, like as I have been leaning more into leading from my soul, fulfilling on my purpose, sharing what I'm here to share, and then this concept of moving into the Aquarian age as a collective and releasing the Piscean age, I've just really come to look at, why is this so important? Why is this showing up? And for me, just
I believe it's part of my purpose as an Aquarius sun and Aquarius rising, in this day and age to support humanity, to support the humans in the process of transitioning from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. So I want to talk a little bit about what the heck I mean by that. And also, what are the clues that I see happening in the world that indicate that this whole moving into the Aquarian age thing is really happening? The first thing is not so much a breakdown of religion, but more so just people becoming more interested in their own spirituality, meaning their own direct connection to source, their own direct connection to God. So less and less are we relying on a pastor or a priest and entrusting them with their connection to God and what they have to say in our lives. That was very much the Piscean age. The Aquarian age is really supportive of you as the individual because Aquarians are very independent, very individualized, very unique. So, this time, this age is really about owning who you are and your direct contact with God, you having the direct connection. And the other thing that I see just in connection to that is how popular manifestation, tarot cards, mediums, this quote unquote new age, as it used to be called. I think it's still called that in some places. It's just beyond exploded in popularity. I mean, you're seeing articles about manifestation coaches in Cosmopolitan magazine. You're seeing more and more manifestation coaches than ever before. And this information has been around for a long time. I mean, there are books like written in the 1920s that talk about law of attraction and your mindset and all these things, which is all in the realm of manifestation. However, more and more and more, it's more everywhere. It's more mainstream, as they would say. And I believe this is a real indication of, again, that individual direct connection to source and the collective really leaning towards that. You're also seeing things like human design and some new ways, and even things like Myers Briggs, like ways to understand ourselves, ways to understand our energy. And then, needless to say, the internet and technology. So, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. Uranus is technology. Saturn is really more about like structure. And again, like if you're an astrologer listening to this, I don't consider myself like a thorough astrologer. These are basic points. My purpose here is to really help direct sort of this broader energy. So, yeah, the internet and technology, these are indications and how the internet and technology empowers the individual, but also connects the collective. So, even though we're a little bit more detached, we're actually even more connected. The Aquarian can come off as aloof and they can come off as detached, but detachment is actually a very powerful distinction in our ability to separate ourselves, separate our emotions, stay individualized. It's at that foundation that we can actually have healthy, authentic relationships where boundaries are honored, right? We need to be able to detach. We need to be able to individuate and be ourselves. And actually, being able to detach and individuate is what actually makes us, gives us the opportunity to be that much more authentic and healthy in our relationships, in our communities, and in the collective. And so, the internet, more Zoom meetings, FaceTime, social media, all of these things speak to that, speak to this way where we get to sort of stay detached, but be connected. It's less reliance on others, but the less reliance on others actually is for the benefit of the people, for the benefit of the collective. So as the individual individuates, and become self reliant, and you have a collective of individuals who are self empowered, who are self reliant, and then you have that body of people integrate in interdependence, that creates a whole new world, right? If it's less codependency and less reliance and less, from my point of view, looking into a world that looks like that, you're seeing a lot more health, the healthiness of the energy, the healthiness of the relationships, more functionality happening. I'm just looking at my notes here. So it's about the individual connecting directly to source, but that individuality is not about so much the selfishness, it actually trickles into the health of the collective. It's also one of the reasons we are just seeing this massive explosion of more business owners and entrepreneurs than ever before. That speaks to the self reliance and the independence and the individuality. Again, the more empowered the individual, the more empowered the collective. So the more we're able to rely on ourselves, and in many cases, a lot of online businesses are relying on their getting their customer base through social media, through the internet. So it's actually of service to the collective because money talks. So it's the collective that gets to talk. No longer is it the television media corporations deciding what commercials they're going to put on the TV for you to see. Now you actually have even more say of what it is that now, obviously, I know this can totally break into a larger conversation about social media, but not that long ago, since recording this podcast, it was within the last month or so, we had the iOS update and something on Facebook, which again, I don't know the details about, but it's like you now get to choose whether or not you want to be tracked or not. So that kind of opens up a whole other conversation. But the point is speaking to, again, this concept of the empowered individual serving the collective for the benefit of the collective, and that there is a healthy symbiosis in that. There is a direct connection from business owner to consumer through their marketing channels, and the customer gets to decide, does this serve me? Do I want to be a part of it? Do I want to support it or not? So again, it just speaks back to this influence of individuality, independence, but also a support of the whole. I don't want to talk too much about the political aspect of it, but certainly what we saw during the global pandemic and what's happened politically, right? Is this sort of tug of war between what the collective has to say. I personally think that, in the Aquarian age, it is going to become more about for the people because the Aquarians are, humanitarian. It's about the whole, it's about the big picture. And I think we're going to see some pushback for that because anytime change occurs, there's going to be resistance. So just the fact that we're moving from a Piscean age into an Aquarian age, just the fact that we're moving age, you're going to see some upheaval. You're going to see some resistance. And just the fact that the Piscean age, one of the key themes of that age was this sort of reliance on others for contact to spirit, contact to God. That's pretty radical to go, no, I'm not going to depend on you anymore. I'm going to depend on myself. It's a pretty radical shift. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the kickback or the resistance is, I think if you start to see it in yourself, you start to see it in your community or in the world, it's just something to notice and something we're going to move through. But ultimately, the positive things to focus on, I was going to say cling to, that might not be the best word, but the positive things to focus on are really your own individuation, your own self reliance. How do you want your relationship to spirit, to God, to source, to be? What do you want that to look like? Because you get to have it. And empowerment, right? And then coming from soul is really, I think, where this all started for me. Coming from soul to the degree that what your purpose is, what you as the individual came here to provide. And really what's going to, like, if you're somebody that's out there that's still kind of wondering what that is, it's the old adage, like, follow your bliss, Joseph Campbell. It's what are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that light you up? So this conversation has certainly lit me up, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to record it and share it. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say. So definitely let me know if this resonated with you, if it makes sense. That's all I have for today. I will see you in the next one.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You can let me know what you thought about it by leaving a review. It really does help the show, and I love to know how the podcast experience is for you. And if you are looking to dive deeper into manifestation and be a part of a community of women who are also up to creating their lives consciously, you can join the Manifest Massively Inner Circle. It's just $7 per month. There's a library of mini courses on all things manifestation, intuition, and mindset. And of course, I host live group calls and more. I'd love to see you inside, and I'll see you in the next episode.